Hello, I'm Craig Constantine.
Oh, there. I'm Curtis Cates, and I've got
Curtis,
three podcasts that I want to plug, but I'm not going to say the names of them
plug
right
them,
now.
plug them,
No,
plug
no,
them
no, no.
now.
I'm not
This
going
is
to
your
say them
show.
right now. No, 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 no.
Whoa, wait a minute. Story arc? Is this the thing? There's three really cool podcasts that you have to. Oh, wait, sorry. This isn't the part where we said this. Oh, right, right. My notes say we'll put those on the end. Thank you for reminding me, Curtis. Okay, don't let me forget that. Um,
Exactly.
we
Yes.
were having
And
a blast. So we went like 13 minutes, and I'm like, hey, this is cool and all, but we need to press record.
oh no. Oh, we actually have to like put this on on the record. Oh no, no, no.
Yeah, it's on the record.
All right.
It's actually just a giant gimmick. I really just delete all these. They don't actually get published. I've thought about doing that. How far could I get making a podcast, like doing everything except publishing the work? Like, could it be like a year and you have like 100 episodes? People are still like, well, I know it's coming out soon.
Craig,
When
this
you're all
this
done, you
is
just
it's very avant-garde of you. Goodness gracious. Whoa. This is this would be like Andy Warhol's 30
holy
hour or
crap.
13-hour video of the Empire
Yeah.
State Building? Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Dude, did you just use Andy Warhol's name within 50 feet of anything I've ever done? Holy Toledo, that's a compliment. if you
Well,
can
you're
look
the
at
one that came up with this.
if
Hey,
you can look at my shit show and somehow that train of thought leads you to Andy Warhol, yes. I'm just going to turn the
alrighty.
mic off. Episode 47, I think this is done.
Well
Um,
done.
Curtis, it is a mad pleasure to get a chance to talk to you. I think I have bumped into you in a couple of the monthly, the big podcaster calls at David Dubinsky. And like I've seen you in a couple of things. I don't think we were in the same course together, but anyway, thanks for taking a risk and showing up for my crazy. So before we started recording, I asked people, then we just like a siren. We like wind it up and we started talking, we're laughing, we're having fun. And I asked you about, I basically just say to people, what's the first thing that comes to mind when I say podcasting? And then we talk about that for a few minutes. And it didn't take us, I've said this before, it took you about 2 sentences to get to things where I was like, whoa, I want to talk about that. So you started by talking out of your hat, talking through your hat.
Talking about my
And
hat. No, 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 no. You're talking, that's the wrong end of the anatomy. For goodness sakes.
was trying to be
Th- th-
nice.
Yes.
And then you started you and I spun off talking about personality types. So I'm still have the imposter syndrome. People show up on the show and you're like, you're really good at this. And I'm like, no, I'm not. And
Yeah, I'm
you,
not so sure you're that good. Wait, come on, come on, come
awesome,
on. What?
awesome, good.
Spit it out. Come on.
Knocking down a peg. Um, I'm, I consider myself to be an introvert. Most people don't believe me, but I think you do because you outed yourself as a professional extrovert.
Yes.
So, okay, here comes an actual question. I don't know, words into sentences putting. You mentioned that you use the display of extroversion when you're teaching, when you were teaching, that you
Hmm.
can do that. It's like a show. And I'm not a teacher in that context, but yeah, I can totally do that. Be the class clown. I got it. What is it that you actually wanted to do when you started into podcasting? Because I'm guessing it wasn't to do like an extroverted show.
Oh my God, I wanted to be an extrovert. I just want people to know what I got something to say. God damn it! And it's no, I've been blogging for I don't know 20 years, whatever the hell that was, and I wanted to do my blog as a voice thingy. But
Mm.
way back when, the technology wasn't there, and when it first came out, it was expensive as hell. These guys were like, "Yeah, yeah, we can put your voice online. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's only like $56 a month, or $56 a week. We can do that for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, right. Give me a break." And that's the way it was. So, yeah, I like the idea of. I thought, yeah, putting out my blog as like a podcast would be really quick and easy. Yeah.
Why didn't it work? Not the tech, why didn't it work, but like why didn't it work?
No. So what do you mean? Why it
So
didn't?
so
No.
you didn't do it, right? Like you don't have a
Yeah.
podcast, which is right. So what is it about blogging that, maybe there's a couple ways to ask this question. What is it about blogging that didn't convert to podcast format, or what didn't you like about the podcast once you started making audio blogs.
Oh, so once I started, I mean, for goodness sakes, I found out right away. There's a big difference between the written word and the spoken word.
Hmm.
There's no question. When I do my podcasts, I have to write them out word for word because when I try to wing it, forget it. And
Hmm.
so it's funny because I was listening to you and Fred talking about like winging it, and yeah, I'm listening to you guys go like host on mic. Oh my God, it's so hard. It's like, yes, it's hard, but the hard part is writing out the thing. This morning, just by synchronicity, I was reading an interview with Leo Steinberg, who was an extraordinary art critic from like the 60s, 70s. And he's one of the most influential art critics in America for like forever. And he's the first thing he's saying in this interview, he's like, I don't do interviews because I suck at them. Oh my God. I have to, when I was a teacher, I had to write out every word of my
Mm.
lectures because I just couldn't wing it. And I totally got that. And the reason is because he was probably just like me, what they call an INFP, an introverted, intuitive, feeling, perceptive person. And this is like ridiculous Myers Briggs stuff. But INFPs throughout history suck at crafting an argument, a logical argument. We can't get our thoughts straight because they're going in 16 different directions at the same
That's a great
time.
point.
And
That's a good point.
that's the deal with INFPs. INTs, the intuitive thinkers, they're spot on, and whatever the hell the other guys, the thinking sensate
Yeah,
guys,
the other
whatever.
16.
Those are the logical people. They're just like, oh, they got an argument. They're the lawyers. They got the arguments straight. They can tie you in knots with their arguments. But NFPs, we're like, my God, we're all over the place. So that was my thing about personality.
But are you still blogging? Is that still working for you?
Oh yeah, so I still do like the essentially, I do my podcasts as a blog, and so I put out the transcripts for them, but I write out these transcripts like as a script.
It's more like a screenplay, right?
Exactly, and for this one podcast that I do, which is called the Hansel and Gretel Code, which is all about my intuitive interpretation of Hansel and Gretel and the depth of meaning in the metaphors. It takes me a good sometimes 2 to 3 months to finish a single script.
Holy crap.
Yeah, because the arguments are so like they're within me and they're like jumping out of me, but they're all over the place. And to rein them in and to make them intelligible.
Give me the name of the podcast again so I can write it down.
It's called The Hansel and Gretel Code. And I've been researching this fairy tale for the last 10 years.
Please tell me the podcast is published. If you just set me up for a thing that's coming soon, I'm going to be grumpy.
No, I'm working on episode 15 right now, and episode 15 is almost ready to publish. It's
just
close.
As long as there's something I can start on. Like if you just set me up, I'm going to be like, well played, Curtis. Well played.
That would be weird, though. It's like, why would no. Episode 15. I've actually written the entire book, but as I was going through it, it's like, no, you can't read this stuff. Nobody's gonna want to read it like out loud. Here, listen to it out loud.
Well, everybody talks about, we all know about the magic of storytelling, right? So
yes,
so when one reads a book, you're basically telling yourself a story, but there's like this magical, I love Carl Sagan's point about humans can work magic. It's basically like somebody who's probably long dead wrote this stuff down. I read it and boop, their ideas appear in my head. That's a magnificent magic trick. And
Henry Miller said something very similar.
I'm a quote nut. I'm going to look that up.
And he's like, I'm talking to you, reader, now.
Yeah, it's not the fourth wall. What wall is that we're breaking?
And I love Henry Miller. Carl Sagan I can do without because he's more logical, but Henry is he's a sweetheart.
Sorry, I don't know if I would have. Right. See, normally what people can't see is I'm sure Curtis can tell I'm taking notes, and mostly it's just I do have like a way that I try to collect some of the ideas out of these for my own personal, like I try and hold on to them a little bit. But I have to search for the title, like what's the title of the show? And in this one, I'm not writing what I should be writing. Instead, I'm writing like, remember to mention this other person that I need to introduce to Curtis. And oh look, I'm like all the wrong notes. They're like, oh well, it's fine. What could possibly go wrong? I mentioned, are you still doing your blog? Because I'm wondering, I was going to ask, but the question is now moot. How has the podcast affected what you're writing on your blog? The answer is it turned into what is going out on your blog.
Absolutely.
Have you gotten any sense for, has what you've been, okay, in case the listeners are keeping track, that's one podcast show out of 3 that has been named now. So thinking about all 3 of these podcast shows, can you tell whether they have affected like how you present yourself in the world, right? Like if you're a classical introvert, then you kind of have to like put on the show. Like I call it my person suit. I can put on my person suit and go socialize. I can be the extrovert. Have you found that what you've done in your podcasts has made it easier or enabled you to do different things or do things better when you're out, socializing?
That's a great question, Craig. But you know what? The answer is no.
No, you haven't thought about it? No, it hasn't helped.
No, it hasn't happened. I cannot like become more extroverted in public. I can't even put on that thing without like, being terrified. Talking to people is a little bit terrifying. So my other podcast, another one of my podcasts, is called Christo.art, where I go to museums and I have a conversation with artworks. I don't have to talk to a person.
I think
talk
you have to
to the
spell
painting.
that, right?
It's Kristo.
I was going to say that's got a K in it. .art.
.art.
Yes, mad props, by the way, thank you for using some of the top level domains out there.
There we go. Yeah, somebody said that to me once. Because I also have Kristo.com. And he's like, "Oh, that's really great. You have a 6-letter URL. Oh, wow. When did that happen?"
I used to have an OT.com. I had a 2-letter domain name.
Oh my God. All right. Okay. All right. Mad props to you.
I always win that game.
Yes.
I mean, I don't have it anymore, but yeah, that was the thing. Anyway, I'm sorry. I derailed. Christo.art, where you go and have a conversation with artwork.
Yes.
Do you do it in the gallery?
Yes. Yeah. So I talk to myself, about the work, and then I go home and I haven't done it in a year because of the COVID business and the museum business, but then I have to sort of goose it up, and I have these other thoughts that I can write about, and so I do that particular part. But no, I cannot although when I'm in a museum, I'm more likely to jump in front of somebody while I'm standing in front of a painting and they come close and I say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I can be more extroverted in a museum than anywhere else on the face of the earth because I feel most at home in a museum. I feel like that's my living room. That's my space.
Why?
Because I love the art and I feel so comfortable with the art. Oh my God.
Wait, is it all art? Is it modern art? Is it?
It could be anything. Could be anything. Sculpture, old stuff, new stuff, whatever. But I did a couple of years at the Art Institute in Chicago, sort of part-time while I was doing other things, and I felt like just being in the Art Institute was like being at home. I have never felt as at home there as I did when I was in undergraduate I went to school in Italy back in the 70s. I spent my 70s, my 20s in Italy, and I felt at home there. And that's where I started getting interested in art. But museums, oh my God. Museums are just a treat for me. And I think people are intimidated by art, unfortunately intimidated by art, because they think it has to mean something or that they don't understand. People
they have to figure it out, right? Like, I don't understand. The point is not to understand. Well, the grammar. The point isn't to understand. The point is to interact, like I don't know, to think, well, what's the point of a museum? That's a better idea. What's the point of art?
Yeah, right. Well, so let me tell you, it is to the understand. There's an understanding there, but that's where intuition comes in. Your intuition understands art better than your logical mind does.
Ooh, that's an excellent point. And you did talk about intuition at the very
That,
beginning, possibly before we were recording.
mhm. So your intuition does not speak in words. Your intuition actually speaks in metaphor, and it speaks in visual. It could also be oral, but
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily work in
if it
like when you're saying speak, but you don't necessarily mean language speak. You mean
exactly,
communicate
exactly,
in imagery, communicate
it
in feeling and
communicates.
color and
Yes,
whatever. Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
And yeah, so it's like, oh my God, most people just have never been given the gift of being able to like enjoy art the way they could. And that's what art's not what art school is for. Is it's what art appreciation is all about. But art appreciation has become this like really ugly thing. Like, yeah, you
Cliche.
gotta learn how to appreciate art. Yeah, don't you
You muggle.
appreciate it? Yeah, exactly. And it's like, no, you don't
No.
appreciate. You don't understand what the hell you're talking
Get out of my
about.
way. I'm trying to look at the painting. Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's why I was reading Leo Steinberg this morning because he was a great intuitive art appreciator, and I've only read a few things from Leo Steinberg before, and it's like I was in a bad context, but this morning it just hit me. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, Leo, no wonder you're an intuitive feeling person. Oh my, wow, holy smokes.
Huh. So many. So this is where I pause and the guests think my video is locked up, and it's my brain just going, yeah, which of those 100 threads do I pull on? Um,
Ah, you got an intuitive thread. You've got an intuitive mind there too.
I
Like you're
yeah,
seeing a
like
whole bunch of threads. Yes.
at the moment, like I'm so meta, my brain over, right? What I'm wondering is, I'm torn between going further with art. I'm torn between. I think what I want to do, like looking at the clock tick,
Hmm.
is dig more into host on mic versus, I don't like the word interviews, conversations, like the
Conversations.
different things that we can do with audio as a medium underneath the umbrella of podcast. And I'm just wondering if you think someone, like, what advice might you have for, so I'm very much an intuitive conversationalist, like, and by
Hmm.
this point, if you still think I'm any good at this, you're crazy, right? It's like, I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm just, yeah, it's just the Craig show. I don't mean like the Craig podcast show. I just mean like, this is what Craig does when he interacts with people. And I'm wondering if somebody out there is more on um, the side where you are, where they very much like to uh, create the podcast like in their workshop. They want to craft it, they want to wordsmith, they want to do a thing, and then they want to like release it. What are things that maybe you've experienced that have made it easier for you to like make that process simpler? Like how, like there's some taglines like just ship it, or like things that you can help, things that you could share that would help those people get better at, I don't want to say make them be an extrovert, but like, how can they be better at bringing others into their work? Like, instead of it's all just me host on mic, how can I occasionally bring in a guest? What kind of guest might be a good place for me to start trying that type of work? See what I'm fishing for? Like,
I'm not sure exactly what you're fishing for, but what I would say is that I I've actually got an interview lined up for like in a couple of weeks about art, and I'm sort of looking forward to trying that and seeing what happens there. And my initial idea was to actually go to a museum with someone else and have a conversation with them about art. Uh, I I don't know how to make that any easier, like to have a conversation with another person about stuff like that. Because, like I said, I'm a lousy interviewer. Oh my god,
I
you
wonder if it's the challenge of, So one of the things that I'm particularly good at is not losing multiple trains of thought. So like I can be present in the conversation with you while still remembering mic tech and audio levels and watching the clock tick at 20 minutes and 3 seconds, like all that stuff. I can like hold those multiple layers. And what if when you went to the museum, somebody else was tasked with putting the headphones on and holding the microphones and doing the gobbledygook crap crud and like moving through the room and doing all the hard stuff. And you just had the conversation. You don't have to do anything else. Would that make it easier?
I don't think it would make it any easier for like my feelings about the stuff that was coming out of my mouth. I've seen guys do that. Some very fairly well-known art critics do that, have done that in New York, and they've got their stuff on YouTube. And I listen to them and I watch them and I go like, I'm not. I don't like what they're doing, but I love the fact that somebody's there videotaping, doing all of the techie stuff. And the techie stuff is like, yeah, the techie stuff has its learning curve, and it's got to be done with. But the techie stuff is not the important part for me. It's really the ideas. The ideas have to flow, and they've got to be communicable. I can say, oh goodness, there's, I don't know if you're familiar with there's an art critical magazine out there called October, and it's billed as like
Nope.
the one of the most famous and most influential art critical magazines out there, and it's not even really a magazine, and it's got this sort of Marxist, postmodernist, something or otherist thing to it, and to read one sentence in there is like trying to read Kant. It's like, are you? It's like, are you kidding? What does this sentence mean?
I have to do what? Right.
This is like, so this is, yeah, they're expressing themselves to other people that are interested in like trying to learn that language, all of the academics, but normal people like stay away from art because they got absolutely there's no connection to what those people are saying to what's in front of them. It just doesn't communicate.
It's not intuitive, to use your own words.
Yeah. And I really do want to like connect people to themselves through art, because that's really what intuition is all about. It's like connecting with stuff that's like at the deepest level of yourself, finding yourself. Yeah, and then we could get into the whole Jungian thing, which I am also a Jungian personage, as it were.
As much as I hate to say it, this is probably where we should stop.
No problem. No
not
problem.
Because of anything you just said, but just because I'm watching the clock tick. But I do say all the time, this doesn't have to be the only one of these that we record together. As I said at the beginning, super happy to get a chance to talk with you. Thanks for sharing your insights about art, your perspective. I still think host on mic is really hard, but what was the third podcast for those people keeping score?
It's Christo's Astrology. I'm an astrologer who does like an everyday horoscope, also intuition.
Terrific. I run out of adjectives.
Thank you, Craig. This has been delightful. I thank you for letting me spout.
You're very welcome. Thank you for showing up. I'm glad to see that you look energized rather than completely deflated. So I'm going to call that a win. So thanks.
Awesome.